Good afternoon and welcome to Nutmeg Sports on the HAN Network. Thursday, May 4th, Frank Granito standing in studio with Kevin Coleman and Eric Gendron pressing buttons and directing. We never know which buttons he's actually pressing. Thank God we didn't have to learn that in school, Kevin.
Hey, he's got the softball, though. He's got, we're already ready to go. He's ready to jump right into it.
We had softball on the network yesterday, first time this spring, and it was the definition of a pitcher's duel. We've had some great ones through this first few weeks of the season, but I tell you what, yesterday might have surpassed all of them.
It really did. I mean, you talk about what a pitching matchup that was between Sophia Barber and Brittany Romero. I mean, the two of them were just dealing throughout the game. It was Fairfield Ludlow, though, that was clutch when it mattered most. They got the timely hits, they got the timely runs, and it was just the little mistakes, the little things that can hurt you, especially if it's baseball or softball, that hurt some teams. And for Darien, they snapped their 11-game winning streak. But listen, this is a very talented Blue Wave team. I think they'll bounce back from this.
First loss in conference. We're also going to have lacrosse highlights for you later in the show. And Eric, there was another pretty impressive pitching performance out of Westport yesterday.
Oh, just a bit. Ben Kasparius with possibly his crowning achievement in his high school career, a no-hitter against the Stanford Black Knights, and 13 strikeouts. We'll get into it some more, but an incredible performance. He didn't just the thing is he didn't just throw a no-hitter. We'll get into that later in the show, but I'm proud of the Stanford Black Knights taking my advice, though, and not throwing Pap in that game.
They've got the big one, which obviously won't be played on Friday now. Almost every game scheduled in action for Friday has been moved forward or back to Saturday due to the impending weather. Let's look at the softball from yesterday, though. You had Darien 11-2, 9-0 in the conference entering into yesterday's game. Fairfield Ludlow at 8-4, 7-2 in the FCIAC. Only 2 games behind in the East Division, Kev. And where the whole game turned for me was in the bottom of the 4th. Britt Romero gives up her one and only run. That next play, there's the comeback or hit to the mound. And we talked about the look on her face as she grabbed that ball so effortlessly, threw it over to first, and she was locked in, loaded, and dealt beautifully the rest of the way.
You're right, and I was so impressed with how she got out of jams. There was that second inning jam she got in, runners out second and third. She got out of that without giving up a run. She gave up that one run you talked about, Frank, but she came back. That liner that came right back at her at the mound. Some pitchers can't make that play. That's more difficult than it looks. You're right, though. I think as soon as she caught that, threw down to first base, the confidence just rose from that point on, and she really dealt throughout the game. I mean, she was dealing. She was throwing some great pitches there, mixing up. You could just tell that the Blue Wave hitters didn't know what was coming next.
It was 1-0 entering the 5th, and former HAN intern Megan Suchman made a huge splash then. She scores the game's first run for the Falcons, scoring from first base with 2 outs on a deep fly ball to left field. Then in the top of the 6th, she gets a 2 RBI double. Eric, always good to see our interns making a splash out there in competition.
Yeah, Megan, that was awesome. I saw her afterwards. She was pretty excited. She got to do that on the air, and she did a great job with us when she was an intern. Coming up clutch a couple times. I mean, yeah, like you said, making that first, scoring from first base on a fly ball in the gap, and coming through with the clutch single up the middle. She was pretty excited to give her team that win. And back to Romero, I mean, she was ticked when that play didn't get made in right field, and I think that really locked her in. And she was really aggressive the whole game, coming right after hitters, and a really great strategy, I thought. She had a really great game plan of, painting the outside corner, working some off-speed stuff on the outside, and then coming with the high heat, high and in. We saw her come. She buzzed the Darien pitcher when she was at the plate a couple times, and that really getting aggressive, and that was really impressive to see. And how just locked in she was, and how she really focused after giving up that one run. Got some great defense from her third baseman as well. The 2 great plays that were tricklers down the line. And some bang-bang plays that the Darien head coach was not too happy about. But really impressive to see Ludlow really bear down and get those big plays and come away with a win.
I thought that, and this is no disrespect to either pitcher, I thought both Barber and Romero benefited from a not inconsistent but very stretched strike zone. I thought there was a lot of wiggle room down below the knees, around the ankles, and the outside corner felt a couple inches off the plate. And both pitchers played tremendously. They were very smart with their pitches, and they used that to their advantage. But I think the hitting took a hit yesterday, for lack of better terms, because of how big the strike zone was.
Yeah, you talk about that strike zone, the umpires yesterday. I think when you have to adjust because not every umpire is the same. So when a good pitcher's coming, that's how you know these two were great pitchers yesterday. They adjusted to the strike zone. Eric's right. I thought Romero did a great job of really taking command of the strike zone, getting some pitches inside, making the batters a little uncomfortable. But listen, one thing that we touched upon during the broadcast was the bunting. It was struggling in the beginning of the game, but what made Ludlow score those runs in the top of the sixth was that they laid down some great bunts, and that's how they loaded the bases. And how about Suchman? You talk about her. Sophia Barber had her where she wanted her with 2 strikes on her. She singles up a great hit up the middle to score 2 runs, and that was such a clutch hit. That was really the turning point of the game.
I got to give it to Ludlow how scrappy they were. I mean, this was Barber came out there in the first inning and was 1 pitch away from throwing an immaculate inning. She threw 8 straight strikes, 9 straight strikes. I'm sorry, 8 straight strikes, threw 1 ball, and then on the 10th pitch of the first inning, got out of the inning. I mean, it was 1 pitch away from striking out the side on 9 pitches. That was incredible, and we thought, Ludlow's in trouble today. But Ludlow hung tough and came back and figured out a way to get to Barber and put runners on base. And, it took some bunts, it took some walks, but they were really scrappy, and I was really impressed at how Ludlow was able to stay in this game.
Words truly don't do it enough justice. Let's take a look at the images as we see the highlights from yesterday's 3-1 victory for the Falcons.
As we get set for a battle between 2 of the top 3 teams in the East Division, 2 of the top 4 in the conference. As a high fly ball to right center field. Calling for this one was Holdery, but she couldn't make the catch. Scoring from second is Schiff. And on with a double is Perrone. And it is 1-0 Darien.
Back towards your body.
This is a line drive out to left field, going back and over the head of Pierce. Suchman is being waved around third. Pierce's throw to the cutoff will not come home. Sliding safely back into second is Bookus with a double, and we are tied at 1.
What a big time hit there by Bookus.
Barber's 0-1. A grounder to short, it's up the middle. 1 run will score. The second run is being waved home. The throw to the plate is off the mark. Taking a look from third is Romero, but a huge RBI double from the senior captain Suchman, and the Falcons have a 3-1 lead.
Big time hit there by Suchman. Aggressive to see if she goes.
She doesn't. As a grounder towards third base. Fielding this one, throw to first is in time. Good job by Doolin, and the side is retired. 2 outs, she represents the tying run. Fly ball to right field. Holdery tracking underneath it and makes the catch. The Falcons a 3-1 victory, and the Wave no longer unbeaten in the FCAC.
So we look at the softball standings now. You've got Stanford sitting atop the conference with a 13-1 overall record, Kevin. But Darien tied at 9-1. They hold the tiebreaker from the East Division. The big game on the calendar we're going to be waiting for now, West Hill and Darien. That'll be the second to last game of the season. Trumbull hanging around, making some noise. Ridgefield as well. And then a crowded East Division. 4 teams with 4 losses. Probably only 2. 3 teams with 3 losses. Probably only 2 are getting into the postseason.
Yeah, you look at New Canaan, St. Joe's, and Ward right there. You see those 3 teams with 4 losses. Question is, how are they going to finish out the rest of the year? Can they squeak in? Norwalk, good record, 8-2, as well as Ludlow. That was a big win yesterday for them, climbing closer to Darien, who now sits at 9-1, earning their first loss in the conference. But boy, you look at that East Division. You're right, Frank. It is extremely crowded. Again, just goes back to what we're saying. Each sport, you seem like it's just so wide open, and there's so many good teams.
And Eric, you look at the end of Darien's schedule. They have got Staples, New Canaan, St. Joe's, West Hill, and Norwalk. So Darien benefited from playing the bottom tier teams at the start of the season. We could really start to find out what the Blue Wave are about now down the stretch.
Yeah, what an onslaught there for the last part of the season for the Blue Wave. That is going to be a tough run for them. We, and then we got all these teams right here not nipping at their heels, knocking on the door there. I mean, this is going to be a very tough stretch for Darien. We're going to see if they can recover from this tough loss to Ludlow. And, it's nice to see a wide open softball field. You don't have playoff field. You don't have that super dominant team that you've seen some years in this league, especially last year with St. Joe's. It's just like baseball. This is a wide open field, and it's going to be a really fun run as we close out the end of the season here.
Quickly before we go to break, way too early pick to win the softball tournament in the spring. Who do you have?
Man, Ludlow showed me a lot, but West Hill is definitely a scary team. Who else do we got? Norwalk could make some noise. Oh, and Stanford. I mean, Stanford, I think, that's the team I think that you really got to keep an eye on. I'm going to go with Stanford right now just because of how much experience they brought back from last year. And we're going to see them on Monday. I'm really excited to see that Stanford team. And when we bring on a team on the FCX tour and we see 3 captains that we saw last year, and you say, "Oh, all 3 of you are back," that's the team you got to look out for.
I think for me, you look at this. Trumbull is a team to look out for. I think right now, but Frank, I gotta agree with Eric. I think I gotta go with Stanford. They look so dominant, and it's just a lot of seniors on that team. They got the leadership. I think they're gonna take it all.
It's a copycat league. They're probably my pick as well. And the big things for me, one, you're right, Eric. So much experience coming back. A couple of those girls were 2-time captains, and they're the 2-time runner-up. So they are tired of being the bridesmaid, ready to be the bride. And I think their loss against Darien, where they blow the big lead and lose in extra innings, I think that was a message to this team, and they're just on a mission right now. So we'll keep an eye on that. It's going to be a lot of fun, the softball down the stretch. Let's take a break, though. When we get back, we've got more action from earlier this week. We were at St. Joe's on Tuesday for boys lacrosse. That's coming up on the other side here on Nutmeg Sports on the HAN Network.
Part of banking well is doing good. That's why, with the support of local community partners, Bankwell has launched the Bankwell Pet Adoption Project to boost awareness about the hundreds of animals in local shelters that need a home. And when you donate to the cause using the Bankwell self-service coin machines, we'll match your donation. For details, visit mybankwell.com/pleaseadoptme. Bank smart, bank local, bank well.
It's the InSports Athletic Functional Movement Assessment Program.
A program that uses a camera, the same camera that you use with an Xbox video game.
What it involves is 3 phases. One is the initial test, which will give you a very objective and lengthy assessment of how you are moving and where there may be imbalances.
Once test gets the results from the assessment, we'll develop a customized program for the individual.
The objective really to try to get as many young athletes through this program as possible.
Have a sports injury or a slip and fall that needs immediate care? Coastal Ortho Express Urgent Care gives you direct access to an orthopedic specialist fast, without an appointment. Biking, golf, tennis, soccer, whatever the sports injury is, sprain or fracture, Coastal Ortho Express can help. Coastal Ortho Express Urgent Care open Monday through Saturday, now at 3 locations: 131 Kings Highway North in Westport, the iPark building at 761 Main Avenue, Norwalk, and 36 Old Kings Highway South in Darien. Or go to coastalorthoexpress.com, like them on Facebook.
At the Milford Bank, we offer an extensive selection of lending products and services to meet virtually any need. Submit your application online in our Mortgage Web Center. Start to finish, you can apply for a loan in as little as 10 minutes. Our knowledgeable and helpful staff are available to meet with you at your convenience. To learn more about what we can do for you, stop by one of our Milford Bank offices or visit us at milfordbank.com. The Milford Bank, always there. Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
When it comes to considering the outside of your home, just imagine the possibilities. Whether your dream is a stunning freeform pool or a tranquil, secluded garden, the team of professionals at Stonebridge Associates will make it a reality. We offer unparalleled landscape design and construction, masonry development, pools, spas, and water features, as well as landscape and garden maintenance. No other firm can offer the same level of creativity, quality, and personal attention. Discover the possibilities at stonebridgeassociates.net or call 203-544-8376 today.
If you're watching this broadcast, you're not alone. The HAN Network is available for 200,000 Connecticut cable customers on the Frontier Network, and we've also reached more than 2 million viewers on our free live streaming sports, news, and entertainment broadcasts. To reach our rapidly growing audience, contact Advertising Director Jessica Murrin at 203-273-7312 or email jessica@han.network.
Back on Nutmeg Sports on the HAN Network. Tuesday afternoon, we were at St. Joe's for boys lacrosse. We didn't get to run those highlights for you yesterday. Kev, I'm going to cut right to it. The game changed for me. End of the first quarter, Liam McGinley coming off. He's selected for the random stick check, takes the 3-minute non-releasable penalty. What was a 4-2 game, and St. Joe's was really hanging around, quickly becomes a 6-2 game, and the Cadets never had a chance again.
Seriously, I mean, that penalty really just put a damper on the game for St. Joe's. It was all Wilton from that point on. I mean, they just went on the attack. They scored on the man advantage a couple times. And from that point on, you're right, Frank, it was all Wilton from there. And they continue to really surprise me. This is a very strong Wilton team that, again, I really do think they're going to make some noise here in the FCIAC playoffs. I
like Wilton a lot, Eric, but St. Joe's right now, 6 straight losses, and they're just sort of stuck in this position where they're going to be in FCIAC contention, most likely a playoff team year in and year out, but not quite ready to hang with the top 2-3 seeds in the conference.
I mean, I was very surprised how poorly St. Joe's performed. I mean, I definitely think, that stick check and then that penalty really was the thing that derailed them, but to the extent that it did was really surprising to me that affected them that much. And, Wilton blew them away just from that point on, and it wasn't just the win that day. But, I was just really surprised by how much St. Joe's just was affected by that and just really never recovered after that. And but Wilton's defense, I think we really got to talk about. I mean, how much the long poles were involved in that attack. Really kind of a unique take that you don't see too often in the FCIAC, in such a high-powered offense kind of league. To see the defense take charge that much on a team that's this strong was really impressive to me.
They were very balanced, very active in transition. Andrew Calabrese had 9 saves, and while I'm not taking anything away from that, a lot of those saves were almost gift-wrapped. I think Jared Malazzi got a little predictable with wraparounds and shots right into the mid area, but it wasn't even that Wilton had to play that much defense. There were a lot of just sloppy turnovers by St. Joe's. Wilton was patient on the attack. They just controlled time of possession and really never allowed St. Joe's to get going, which is why we saw them go scoreless for almost 3 quarters.
Right, and you saw Wilton, they did a great job there on the offensive end. I mean, you talk about the long poles, they were great. Hoffman, he actually had a couple of chances to score. You saw him run up and down the field in transition. He was excellent. And Calabrese, again, he actually did make a couple of nice saves on St. Joe's, but you're right, Frank. I thought Jared Malazzi was too predictable. He's one of the guys that really can score for St. Joe's, but again, too predictable. He comes around the X, tries to wrap around every time, and it just doesn't work, and Wilton shut it down in the early part of the game after he scored that second goal in the first quarter. So from that point on, I think it was all Wilton. Again, the defense really stepped up. Calabrese could really be, if he can get hot in the playoffs, that's someone they can write off.
With 4:23 remaining, it was 2-2, and then Wilton goes on a 9-0 run. Final score in this one was 11-3. Let's look at the highlights from the Warriors' win.
Great defense by Andrew Hoffman there. Really been impressed so far with the Wilton D.
How about the quick pass from Drake out in front? Calabrese picking the top right corner. 3-2 Warriors. What a look.
Great fit.
Malazzi off the screen towards the front of the net. Shot on goal, and he gets his second of the afternoon with 4:23 to go. And we are tied up at 2. Plenty of options on this offensive attack as heading to the front of the net. Was he in the crease? No, it counts. Calabrese picks up his second, and the lead is up.
Really is. Those teams really could make a difference here, and you see a great goal by the Wilton Warriors.
What a pretty play there. McGovern have everyone fooled thinking he's about to shoot, and standing all alone on the back door was Brian Calabrese.
From coming out of that now, Wilton, I think, has established they are a top 4 team in the conference. I think they'll be in that 4-5 game. I don't know that they'll be able to catch Greenwich now moving forward, and I just think that New Canaan and Darien have separated themselves enough. New Canaan has the tiebreaker, but I think you're right, Kevin. Whoever they play in that 4-5 matchup, whether it's Staples or Ridgefield, I like the Warriors a lot. The tough task is going to come from if they have to draw Darien in the second round. If they could get into that 3 spot and potentially see New Canaan in the semifinals, I think this Wilton team is an FCIAC finalist.
Certainly, and you look at Wilton, they already beat Richfield this year, and they beat Greenwich in overtime. But listen, this is a very talented Wilton team. As long as they get in, and right now you're seeing the standings right here, Greenwich and Richfield sitting there 7-1, 5-1 for the Tigers. Trumbull right there 4-2. I easily can see Wilton beating Greenwich and Richfield.
Eric, the interesting thing is looking at the standings there, McMahon and Ward are really making 7 through 8 a crowded territory right now. Staples and St. Joe's currently on the outside looking in based on who they have played in tiebreaker scenarios.
Yeah, I mean, the very interesting bottom of the bracket here, and we're going to be seeing Ludlow and Trumbull next weekend. That's going to be a very interesting one, and Trumbull, very surprising, a nice above 500 record. They have benefited from a slightly easier schedule than the rest of the conference, but it's going to be very interesting to see how the bottom half of that bracket shakes out, especially the way St. Joe's is playing now. But I think after seeing Wilton, I'm really high on the Warriors as well. Going to be very interesting to see how they finish out the season. I really like how defensively minded they are, and just kind of give you a different look than some of the other teams. So, as you said, going to be very interesting to see how that bottom half shakes out. And if Wilton can avoid Darien in that second round, I agree, Frank, that could be a team that you could see go all the way to the FCX championship.
And how about this for an athlete of the week plug? Gareth Gassetta from Fairfield Wars boys lacrosse team, who's one of our nominees. He had the double OT goal to beat St. Joe's last week. How important could that goal be right now if it comes down to Ward and St. Joe's on the last day of the season?
Boy, I tell you, that'd be great for us. That'd be fun to see another overtime game. We've seen some great thrillers. You look back at last week, we saw Staples and New Canaan. That went to overtime. That was a lot of fun. But these last couple of teams that are going to get in are going to cause trouble for Wilton, for Greenwich, for Ridgefield. So it really is going to be a great finish here for boys lacrosse.
It's going to be pure mayhem on their way to McMahon, and we'll have coverage of it all the way till Thursday, May 25th, when we've got the FCX Championship right here on the HAN Network. Let's take one more break. When we get back, we got plenty of baseball action to discuss, including the no-hitter from Staples Ben Kasparius, right here on Nutmeg Sports on the HAN Network.
Want a new experience in car buying? Scap Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram with one of the largest inventories of new 2- and 4-door Wranglers. We are Connecticut's Wrangler headquarters. Come visit our new Ram Truck Center. Browse our websites, scapchryslerjeep.com or scapdodge.net to find the new Jeep, Chrysler Dodge car, minivan, or Ram truck you've been looking for. Just 2 miles from both I-95 or the Merritt Parkway exit 44. Save thousands right now during the Drive and Discover event. Now through May 31st.
At Budget Blinds, we're in business to frame the light, the day, and the night. So we give you an exclusive combination of high style, expert service, our no surprises pricing, and our no questions asked warranty. We believe that everyone, at every budget, deserves style and service. Isn't that a beautiful place to be?
You don't have to go far for authentic Neapolitan cuisine and renowned wood-fire pizza. Pizzeria Loretano of Bethel is a contemporary Italian bistro, specializing in authentic wood-fired brick oven pizza Napolitana. Pizzeria Loretano was named one of America's top 1,000 Italian restaurants in 2008 by Zagat, and recommended by Jane and Michael Stern on National Public Radio's Splendid Table. Located close to the Bethel Cinema, we focus on quality, and our food is always made to order. Join us for live jazz Sundays from 6 to 8. Find our schedule, menu, and more at pizzerialoretano.com and like us on Facebook.
The new fishing season is fast approaching, so it's time to head over to the dock shop and get your gear in order. We're now offering bait in both Darien and our Westport location. The dock shop can service and repair your rods and reels, spool up new line, and fill any empty space you might have in your tackle box. Whether you're a fisherman, boater, or beach bum, the dock shop is a unique place to shop. The Dock Shop, 51 Tokenique Road, Darien, 609 Riverside Avenue, Westport, dockshop.com.
Spring has sprung at Walter Stewart's Market, and we're celebrating the new season with fresh takes on spring. From the finest produce around to guaranteed fresh seafood delivered daily by the best local supplier. Not only are we your time-saving one-stop shop for everything you need this season, our personable team is always ready with a helping hand. Shop Stewart's for the best of spring. Find us at 229 Elm Street, New Canaan, or shop online at stewartsmarket.com.
France de Chartres-Nez, c'est la France de tous les Français.
I can't believe it.
Well, Dad, you did it. You sold 160 cars. Ready to go back upstairs now?
I think it's time. I wonder how the boys are making out in their new office.
Not what I had in mind, Kyle. What, Dad?
Maybe we should retire. Right now, lease a 2017 Rogue S for only $139 a month. Isn't it time you got Millerized?
I'm John Kovach. I'm a newspaper editor. I'm a high school football coach. I'm a television presenter. And I want you to love fishing as much as I do. Tune into Yankee Fisherman, Thursdays at 1 on the HAN network. It's like going to the tackle shop without leaving your office.
Back on the HAN network, and we look at the baseball scores from around the FCIC yesterday. New Canaan 9-6 over McMahon. Darien blanks Ludlow 6-0. Ward 16-4 beats Trinity Catholic. West Hill 2-1 holding on against Greenwich. I want to come back to that one, guys, as West Hill has found a way to win their past few games. Danbury 6-1 Norwalk. Trumbull 4-3 over St. Joe's. And, of course, the 18-0 Staples over Stanford. Ben Kasparius with the no-hitter. He also had 2 home runs. Eric, before we break down this individual performance, I felt that Kasparius had struggled early on this season. How important is it now that he maybe just found his stride and is ready to go heading down the stretch of this season?
Oh, I mean, perfect timing. And this is from the WWPT Twitter account. A pretty cool graphic there that they put up there for 13 strikeouts, no hits. Oh, and 2 home runs. I mean, you talk about the perfect time for Kasparius to find his second gear. But you're right. You know, we just kept, I think we all just kind of kept waiting and waiting for Kasparius to break out. I mean, this is a guy who's going to play for UNC next year, and you know, you're kind of wondering, oh, where are the tools? Where are the stats? And he showed it all yesterday. And if he's really coming into his own right now, watch out, because I mean, that is a deadly weapon to have as you go into the final stretch of the season.
And Staples, Kevin, is tied in third with New Canaan, or just a game behind New Canaan in third. They're going to play each other next week. We'll have that game at Staples, as you see here. West Hill jumps up and gets tied with Ridgefield to top the conference, and then it is very, very, very close down around the 6 through 8 spot.
Well, how about, you talk about that big win for West Hill yesterday, but how about Danbury beating Norwalk? I mean, that's a game that Danbury needed after losing to Stanford this week. That was a big game for either team to grab, and Stanford grabbed it from Danbury, but Danbury bounces back after a tough loss, gets a big win against a very talented Norwalk team who, you know, look past their record. This is a very talented Norwalk team.
Well, we're going to learn a lot about the top of the conference, specifically New Canaan, Staples, West Hill, Ridgefield. All 4 of them are playing each other next Wednesday afternoon. We'll be at Staples for that game. We'll keep you updated on the Ridgefield-West Hill game, which will be a battle for first place. Then, the next Monday, we've got New Canaan and Ridgefield. So you could see the Rams potentially right back up into first, pending what happens. West Hill still has to play Darien. But, Eric, we talked about it earlier in the week, how you saved Pap to throw him against Ward. I know that Stanford is now sitting in 12th, but if you come back on Friday and beat Ward, you're right back into the top 8.
Oh, absolutely. And once again, you know, this is a league. Anybody can beat anybody in this league this year. It's incredible. I mean, these standings are so chaotic, and because of all the rainouts we had at the end of April, all the rainouts we're going to have, we already have tomorrow, it's just going to be such a crazy final 2 weeks in this league. I'm so excited for these final few days of this season. I mean, we've got it's a week and a half, guys. We've got a week and a half to figure all this out, and it's going to be an absolutely wild finish to the season. I really can't wait. Anybody can beat anybody, and really we're going to see what New Canaan is made of in these next final 10 days.
And again, we were scheduled to cover Norwalk and McMahon tomorrow. That McMahon was going to be unveiling their new turf baseball field. That game has been postponed to Saturday. It is off of the HA Network schedule. We'll be adding Ludlow and Trumbull boys lacrosse on Saturday the 13th. And as Eric mentioned, that's a game that could essentially work out to be a playoff playing game at that point, with only 4 days remaining in the regular season after that. Guys, a lot of fun. It's going to be a very busy final week and a half. We've got a lot going on, and there's a lot to sort out. Your final thoughts as we head into the weekend.
Well, listen, I can't wait for you.
No, I meant Eric first.
You meant Eric first. I see how it is. Okay.
That was rude.
Oh boy, boys. No,
it's the end of the week for us.
Like I said, I can't. We're going into the final 10 days of the regular season here, starting next week. And it's just chaos all over the place in baseball and softball especially, but it's really crowded in boys lacrosse as well. And just so much fun as we head into the final 10 days. Can't wait for the playoffs and see how everything shakes out. But baseball and softball, you got to love the chaos. Embrace the chaos, and enjoy these last final 10 days of the season.
You're going to cue me in or what? You're just there.
Go ahead.
No, I was just going to say I can't wait, especially for the Bridgefield-New Canaan game. I think we may have a little bragging rights in the broadcast booth there, my friend. But that's going to be, again, like Eric said, baseball, softball is going to be a fun finish to see who's going to wind up on top. But it's lacrosse that really has got me going. That's going to be a fun finish as well. Who in their right mind is going to take down Darien? I mean, right now they're the best team in the nation. Who are they going to take? Who's going to take them down? But like Eric said, baseball, softball is going to be a great finish. Can my Tigers finish off in first place? We'll see.
Might have to find the orange wig one more time. I agree. We've got four exciting sports coming down to the finish. We're going to have golf as well coming up soon. So there's a lot going on. It's going to be a lot of fun. Kev, good luck tomorrow night for all our New York viewers. Kev's going to be ripping it up on acoustic in the city. Make sure you get out and support him. For Eric Gendron, Kevin Coleman, I'm Frank Granito. We'll see you next week on Nutmeg Sports. Coffee break tomorrow with Kate at 11. Peace.